Professor Franconi, where do you see Tau going? Obviously, you're committed to this project. What is your personal dream? What do you want to see happen?
I tend to be more pragmatic and less of a dreamer in the sense, dream does not mean unachievable, it means longer-term dream. I have a shorter-term dream. I really see this already applicable, it was mentioned before, in these small communities. I mean, like now we have several blockchain systems, maybe each one working with different kind of rules. Smart contracts, for example, the area of smart contracts, I think, has a natural application here. So now smart contracts are a piece of code that nobody understands, and you can be fooled by anybody because you give a directive to do something, and then the way it is actually implemented is completely disconnected from what was my specification of what this smart contract should. So just this small area of application where you have to negotiate an agreement between all the parties involved in the contract is a major area of application to me. I'm much more for experimenting, but that's just me. Experimenting in these small confined areas where you can actually understand and focus potentially also on problems and may sum up, in particular social problems that have to be understood to potentially solve the bottlenecks that may arise, etc., etc. I'm very fond of all the technical solutions that we have found, that the Ohad and his genius group is really working hard on this. There is the goal to start applying and see these things really in the real world, deployed in the real world.
Excellent. Ohad, what's your dream, short or long-term dream for Tau?
Well, Tau is all about truth. It is for people like me, like us, who like the truth, who prefer the truth over the false. I hope that Tau will bring a little bit more truth to this world, to this full of lies world.
Excellent. Excellent. What are the next steps for Tau? What's coming down the pipeline? Where are we at? How do people get involved? Let's talk about from this day forward, what's happening with Tau and what is the level of involvement for people like me and people in our audience?
And for involvement, we have a community mainly taking place on Telegram. We also have monthly update every month on YouTube. People can submit questions. For the next steps, we are now moving to finalize and implement the Tau language. In parallel, see how to put it as a block acceptance condition on a blockchain. And finally, to start having a self-amending blockchain. Those are the next steps.
Excellent. It's coming to fruition. It's about to be live on the network. Just as a final question, what are the key problems left to solve, if any? Are there any hurdles? Or, Franconi, it seems like you have an idea of what are the major problems left to solve?
Well, it depends on the meaning of the word problems. So I see interesting challenges to still be solved, making Tau even more powerful. So I think we have cracked down the main issues, the main quests, by having this language that is able, in a logic fashion, to talk about itself, to talk about laws, to change the laws, the dynamic aspects, to model software, to be very powerful and still be indecidable so that we have terminating correct algorithms. There are new things that we can add to this language, new aspects, to add its expressivity. So we mentioned, I guess, briefly that the language, if we take the most powerful language, then this would be undecidable, so we cannot really hope to implement it. But taking the decidable fragment is sort of arbitrary. So we took one direction and we still hope to give it more potential and somehow make it more interesting for several aspects. For example, to model formally the notion of argumentation. I know there are some aspects in this, to this sort of game theory that will be involved in argumentation could be a possible extension of the language. So there are many interesting challenges, which does not mean that we have problems. These are just new things we want to add to the language.
Okay, levels of achievement, but there's no technical hurdles preventing you from moving forward at this point, or are there?
There are details to be ironed out, but yeah, I guess main things are there, yes.
Excellent.
Yes, I agree, and indeed, an ongoing effort that we know mathematically that will never end is to enhance the expressiveness of the language and to have a more efficient algorithms.
Okay, so expanding expressions and optimization. But as you said, that will never end. That is just part of the ongoing work. Excellent. Any final thoughts that you would like the world to know about Tau?
Well, I can see my perspective is very focused on the technical aspects. So I'm not really the one that has conquering the world and changing the world and pushing for truth in the world. From that perspective, I really think that what we have done is really magic. Is major technical advances in logic, in computational logic. And this gives the company a major advantage, business advantage too, because we are the only owner. So Tau, the company Eden, is the only owner of this technology. And so they can do these things, and nobody still knows how do we get these results, and which is interesting as well. So I really like to keep going working on with the group and then to meet these new challenges and extensions of the language.
Excellent. Thank you. Ohad, any final thoughts for the world?
Yeah, so to take it more down to earth, we want to take software development to the next level. That much more complex will be able to be programmed and controlled by users, bring software back to the people.
Wonderful.